guys, this is Emily from Hopscotch Interactive, and I want to chat with you today about some big industry news, which is that Zillow has acquired VRX Media. Now, VRX Media is a Milwaukee-based real estate media services company. They are more or less a marketplace for booking everything from drone to photos to virtual tours, and they operate in 60 metro areas. Now, this is interesting news because along with the acquisition, it had a big impact immediately on real estate photographers and real estate media producers. And with that acquisition, it was also announced that the Zillow corporate would be sunsetting something that many of us have and use in our marketing, which is something like the Zillow Elite Photographer badge and, of course, the Zillow Certified Photographer designation. And so these are not to be used anymore. However, nothing has taken their place as of yet, except for a big question mark for me that is going to be, well, what is the badge? Is there a badge? And how should we call ourselves if we are a super experienced Zillow photographer and want to make sure that we distinguish ourselves and we don't work for VRX and maybe VRX isn't even active in our metro area. So really interesting stuff, and we're going to get into it a little bit further. Now, this comes on the heels, that was VRX is their 18th acquisition, but this comes on the heels of two other acquisitions that I want to talk about as well. And the first one is ShowingTime, which was acquired in 2021. Now, this is going to be the umbrella brand that they are going to be using for everything that they are going to offer to their listing agents. So that's going to mean listing preference, promoting the listing agent, fueling and funneling buyer leads to them, but also the offering and packaging up of media services to be fulfilled, I'm assuming, through the arm now that they've acquired with VRX to deliver all of the photography. Not VRX, ShowingTime actually already has an app, and I don't know if that's going to be maintained. I don't know if that's going to be independent. I don't know if VRX will be something you can book through ShowingTime or if it will all just become Zillow. We don't know yet, but you can see that really, ShowingTime is a push towards supporting the listing agents so that they have efficient meetings and appointments scheduled for bookings or for showing appointments. So I'm sure that's a big pain point for listing agents and for real estate photographers. It's not really part of what we are involved in, but I can see how that was something that was really valuable to think, okay, we've got listing agents and we want to help them. What else can we do? Well, we can offer and bundle up services. So I also took a look at the Q3 2022 shareholder letter, and we're going to get into that in a second. But before we do, we want to talk about the 17th acquisition, which was made, so the one just prior to VRX, which is that Zillow had to figure out a solution for its floor plans. They had paused the program about a year and a half ago, I think in spring 2021, because they just couldn't keep up with demand. We experienced that ourselves with a floor plan taking over a week to get to us. And so we said, no way, never again. They paused the program and then only rolled it back out again once they had figured it out. Now, they not only figured it out, but they accelerated it and made it even better because they have now added artificial intelligence that can support the creation of floor plans, reducing the time it takes for those floor plans to be generated to less than 24 hours in many cases. So that is pretty interesting. And it also is a sign that Zillow is not afraid of using artificial intelligence, even though they had some not so great results from using it with their iBuying program. And that we can talk about in a second as well. So now, of course, free floor plans available. Anybody can make a floor plan, whether they know how to really make it or not. And I've even done tutorials on, especially during the pandemic, of how do you make it with just your iPhone or with your cell phone, or how can you make it with a Ricoh Theta Z1. So definitely check for other videos from Hopscotch that we've done to teach folks about how to do that. So this was Rich Media Technology. That was the company that they used, or that they acquired, in order to help with this 3D, or to help with the floor plan generation. But what about VRX Media? I don't really know these guys very well. They're not super active in my market, but the research that I did showed me that they have super aggressive pricing. Like, this is Nevada, which I'm sure is definitely different than the West Coast, but certainly $220 for professional photography plus a Matterport 3D tour is super, super aggressive. In fact, those rates would be unsustainable in the Bay Area where we are. And I think also maybe it's a great fit, however, for multifamily, for rentals, for other properties, but maybe not your premium real estate listings. And also because I think that our clients really value the relationship that they have with us, and they love that consistency, and we get to know them, they get to know us. And so top agents are probably still going to be leaning on the people they consider part of their team, whereas for folks that find the media services to be a bit more transactional, for them this is going to be actually like a great way to ease that pain point for them. So how do they do it? How do they keep the rates so low? One of the ways I think they're doing it is maybe perhaps favoring folks that are using the Ricoh Theta Z1. Again, I don't know, but this is something that I saw from one of their tours, and I thought, okay, well, that certainly speeds up the creation of a tour. Also, I think on those packages, you're going to see, instead of Matterport 3D as part of the package, you're going to see the Zillow 3D Home Tour replacing it as the default. Now, I think that they should figure out a way to work with Matterport, because obviously it's better for everyone if there's more 3D tours. But in January, they are going to be actually doing just boosts on properties. So starting in January, there will be just boosts on properties that have the floor plans. So this is different than the way it's been, which is if you had the Zillow 3D Home Tour, you would get the boost, and then your listing would get elevated, and it would be included in emails that would go to people with the search parameters for the first 7 days that that listing was live. And now it's going to be, from what I understand, just for properties that have the Zillow floor plans generated as well. And so this is one of our properties here in green that we did a Zillow 3D Home Tour for. And I think our agents really love it because they get the marketplace, they get the boost. So that's a big deal. And I'm also a little concerned that if we want to generate really robust floor plans, like nice floor plans that are ANSI compliant, ANSI Z765 compliant, that there may be some conflicts between the Zillow floor plan and the other floor plan. And then there's a question of, well, which one do I use and which numbers are the right numbers? And nobody wants to have confusion, right? That just opens up a big can of worms, and we don't want that. So for anybody in the US, this applies to you. For folks outside of the US, not so much, but I think it's interesting, and certainly something that I would want to know if I were planning my marketing for 2023. So how do you make, if you wanted to do this, you wanted to still get the boost, well, you need to use a, here, we can just show you exactly what that is. This is the QR code version, and it's a sort of a, I guess it's a mouse pad. It's sort of out of neoprene, and they will send one to you if you want it. Check the link in the description if you would like to be sent one, or you can also use a sheet of paper. So that's the sheet of paper. And you put that down on the ground, and then you set it 1.5 feet from the monopod. And that is how you do the calibration step as you start this. You can't wait and do it when you get home. You have to do it at the property. So definitely make sure you familiarize yourself with that for the next time you go out to do one of these tours. They updated something that I think is interesting. I'm still wondering if this is somehow a silver lining for us, which is that realtors can have their names also show up when we are showing those tours, not just the photographer's name. And so I liked it when it was just the photographer's name, but now it's going to also be the realtor. So co-branding, which was never a bad thing, but it's just a lot of information for somebody just trying to digest quickly and get to the information that they want. Back to the shareholder report. Now, this now is interesting. So I've got this part highlighted for you here, which is showing what's going to happen in 2023. So ShowingTime Plus will offer 2 new tools to help agents win their next listing. We already talked about that. Listing Media Services, a photography service, and that's with ShowingTime Plus. And they will also offer Listing Showcase, a complete media placement package that puts the listing agent's brand front and center using interactive technology. So that's the other thing that we're talking about is the listing agent really being their client here. So I also think it's interesting. Let's see if I can get this here going. So they also say, given how this year has played out, we continue to feel that we made the right decision exiting iBuying 12 months ago with no inventory remaining on our balance sheet as of September 30th. So they feel really bullish that they, let's move this back over. And they feel really bullish that they were able to exit out of iBuying and that they have stayed committed to the use of artificial intelligence is very interesting. So next, my question is to you guys, Matterport acquired VHT because they wanted to get into the services part of this. They couldn't fulfill everything. I mean, there are many reasons, but they obviously had enterprise clients that they needed to fulfill on more than just Matterport. And so they acquired VHT a couple of months ago. Now, Zillow has also gotten in this game of media services and they've acquired VRX. And so this sort of marketplace of booking, but Matterport is not a marketplace. And so they don't have the eyeballs. So think about that when you're wondering, well, what's Matterport potentially going to look at an acquisition target later? And Zillow has followed suit with Matterport also getting into the services business, which I think is fascinating because the services business is impossible to scale. That's the whole point, is that it's very, very difficult to scale, and you basically start commoditizing your product, and you have to commoditize especially the prices. But these are people, this is services. And in places like California, where if now VRX and photography is now core to Zillow's business, Zillow may be forced, I would think, to comply with laws like AB5, which say that a person who is doing your core business is your employee, right? And so the whole contractor model, I think, gets blown up when you look at this in states like California. And now I'm also looking at Redfin going, well, what are they going to do next? Are they going to get into the services business as well? And I believe they use VRX and they have other service providers that they refer to. But right now they've gone more of the sort of financing and mortgage and equity side of the business, which I think is very smart because it puts them close to the money. Now, Matterport and Zillow, are they Lyft and Uber? Are we all going to be Lyft and Uber drivers? Is that sort of the end game here for these two companies? And so again, I'm trying to look for the silver lining and to see if the rising tide raises all boats. But I think the jury is out, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. VRX is not hugely active in our market. Maybe they're active in your market, and you can shed some light. So I hope you found this video and my thoughts helpful. These are just some of the things that I reacted to when I saw this, and I wanted to make sure that folks also kind of let it sink in that there's another big acquisition. I don't think that everything's going to change overnight, but certainly there will be changes and consolidation of the way that media is purchased for some percentage of brokers. Now, will this be your top broker? Will it cannibalize some of your business? Will you have to shift what you do and pivot a little bit in order to react to it? You might, and I don't know what the timeline is on that, but I think it's really good to think about threats to your business and opportunities as well. So, if you want to hit the notification bell, then you will find out every time I post a new video. And thank you so much for watching. And please put your comments down below so I can hear from you. And like I said, the forums were all blowing up on this because there was a lot of mixed, really mixed, and probably negative commentary on it. But I want to know if maybe there are some other insights people have. So feel free to share those. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.